Hey everyone, I'm Ron Bonk,
And I'm Jonathan Straiton.
here for another edition of Penis Hammer.
Yeah.
This is a late night edition for us, not necessarily people watching. Jonathan had a big studio meeting tonight.
I did. We'll see.
But I don't know. I guess we could start off with the usual. What's the latest going on with Night of Something Strange? I don't think I've asked you for a few days.
Well, I was just filming actually last night some inserts I needed to do. So I got those done, added them in.
Monday night you talking about or Sunday night?
No, last night.
Oh, so you shot more last night? Okay. I know you shot this weekend.
Yeah, I shot on Friday, then went out of town, and then got back late Sunday, and then last night I shot a few inserts and added them into one of the scenes. They were small. One was just I needed a kind of a close up of a garbage bag, with kind of dripping blood. It's a scene with Sonny and Freddie, and he catches him after he's doing, I don't want to give it away, but it's just, it's amazing things that I can do, such, a year later and do it in my own backyard and make it look like it was shot there on set,
Yeah.
So, so I finished Reel 2 on Act 2, so I'll be sending that to the composer and my audio editing guy tonight. So that's about where I'm at.
Cool. I remember doing that on my very first movie, which wasn't a very good movie, but in City of the Vampires, I had to shoot these inserts, and I shot them. It wasn't necessarily a long time after, but I shot them down in my parents' basement, after we've been shooting at this location. But they're close shots of the actor's face and stuff, and he gets burned by this cross and stuff. And I did that all in my basement and cut it in and it mixed in. So right from my very first movie, I realized I could do that and get away with it. I've had to do it for a few things on She Kills, not too many. I have a few things still to do. I was starting to tell you before we started about all my new lists up there of work. Yeah. For tonight was the first time I actually watched the whole movie all the way through, pretty much from start to finish. There's a few parts where there's not really any audio, and I've got picture locked pretty much on the scene, so I was mainly listening for audio and looking for issues with picture. So those parts I could fast forward a little bit, but pretty much watched the whole thing all the way through. Stopped, added a few sound effects here and there where I thought it needed it. I think that was what I was going to talk to you about before we got on the podcast, because I didn't want to give it away, but some of the sound effects I added to some of the shots, and basically made a list of, there's 6 shots I've left to do. They're just mainly effects shots. I got all my inserts and a list of things I want to try to do in After Effects, like cleaning some shots, and a list of audio stuff. I'm going to have Jenny come in a week or two. I pretty much thought I was going to have to do more redubbing with her. Jenny's the lead in She Kills, for people who don't know. And but I was able to find some of the sounds, some of the stuff I needed either from other takes of hers or from stuff I found online, like on freesounds.org and stuff like that. So I have a scene where she's crying, and I use the crying off of there, and it kind of matches to her voice. It's not super close, but I could live with that. But there's a point where I want her kind of screaming more, and I don't have clean screaming without other people over her. So since I got to bring her out for the screaming, I'll probably have her redo the crying. But that's pretty much the only sounds I have left to redub in terms of dialogue. I don't know if I ever told you the stuff that you did for Trey there of me, who plays Dirk and She Kills, the one line and stuff. I don't know if I told you, but when I tried to cut it in, his acting was nowhere near what he did in the scene.
Oh, was it?
Because he was he was super intense in the scene, and it sounded really mild. It actually matched pretty good, mouth wise and stuff, but the level of the acting just wasn't there. So I stayed with the original, just see if Emmett, my sound guy there, can clean it a little bit. Meanwhile, I added a glitch over it to kind of hide it a little bit, and added a few more glitches here and there, just some random ones. I made, you're locked up. Are you still there? Hello? Johnny. Oh, there you are.
All right.
I made a splice here frame because I wanted a couple of those. I actually wanted to try to do the tape splice so you just see it for a second, but I made like a splice here frame too, and then I reversed it for one transition between the scenes and stuff, and then in After Effects I'll add some breakup of the image and stuff like that. But basically that's my list. Some of it's repeat stuff, but that's my list of work left to do on the movie, and then it's pretty much done. And it seems like a lot, but it's really in the home stretch as far as what I got to do. I got the After Effects, or I got the digital effects from Tony in. He did the gunshots in the lair battle there before. And they came out pretty good. I'm waiting to see if he'll do the final scene where I wanted to add some blood and stuff to it. And I want to do that. I don't know if I should tell this on the recording, but you can ask me after about what I want to do for the final big, death scene, I guess you can call it.
Okay.
I had an idea for it. Basically, I want to try to do something stop motion, but I got to figure out how to make the prop to do the stop motion. But anyways, it's coming along. The effects guy there for the couple inserts, he wants to shoot October 10th to the 13th, somewhere in there, because he's doing some haunted house stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna be shooting this weekend that stuff. I'll be shooting it in like 2 weeks. This is for people realizing just now we've been recording these, so it's actually gonna be a bit behind, but I can get basically somewhere between the 10th and 13th. I should have all the shots done. Meantime, I'm just about there to send it to Emmett so he can start cleaning the audio and doing his music.
So what was it like watching the movie for the all together?
It was good. I actually, I hate watching my own stuff back after watching it so much, but I liked it watching it back. I feel like it had that 70s grindhouse, and some stuff I was like really loving. Some stuff was bothering me. There's definitely things I wish I could have done better or different on set or had covered on set. There's like simple things you forget, like how she has the bottle and what she does with it in the bar scene and stuff. Yeah. But I never really show what happens to the broken bottle, for instance. Yeah. And I got to talk kind of cryptic because I don't give anything away. So it's like, it's funny when you're shooting it and you're scripting it, you don't think of that. And audience, every time I've watched, I've never really thought what happened to the bottle, Yeah. But what I did is I had a little sound effect where you hear like a little, like a sound, and then you hear like a bottle break on the ground and stuff. And so if anyone asked, I could be like, well, it happens off screen and you can hear it if you listen for it, There's a couple of little points like that where it's like, I never really covered that. What happened to that, or what happened to this, or. And again, in the process of rolling through the movie, and this is what we were kind of talking about last week, like with continuity errors and stuff like that. You hope your audience doesn't pick up on it because they should be involved in the movie. And in the process of me watching it so many times, I didn't catch this stuff. We back?
Yeah, there. Sorry, my card was filled up. I forgot I recorded audio from Miss Cannibal Holocaust, actually.
For the one scene?
For that one scene, hotel? Yeah, in the hotel. So I had let it record for a while because the scene goes on for a while, so I wanted it kind of still in the background.
Oh, okay. Would you record it direct from the TV so you had that, like, right sound,
Well, I actually just played it through the computer and then put the boom mic on the speaker.
Oh, yeah, you could have done that, too.
Yeah, so it sounded, it sounded good, so...
What was I talking about before you had technical issues?
You were talking about, I think you were talking about we're talking about continuity. There are things that you wish you could have done different.
No, that was way before.
Was it?
I was way past that. I forget. It took us a while to get back. So, I thought I was talking about the blood effects.
You're talking.
Well, anyways.
Oh, we're talking. You watched the whole movie. You're talking about you don't like watching your stuff, and then.
Oh yeah, it played. I mean, I enjoyed watching it, which was rare for me to at this late in the game after watching the scene so many times, and I watched half the movie one day and I watched the other half of the movie another day. So this is the first time I watched all the way through, and it was just I liked it, but there's definitely it's got its bumps and bruises stuff on set that I wish we had done different. Either acting wise or effects wise, I wish it had been better. There's a lot of places where I wish we'd just thrown more blood down. Like there's that one shot of the skeleton on the ground, for instance. And yeah, there's a reason it's pretty much a skeleton, and you could argue that maybe everything was licked clean, but we should have had like a giant blood splot around that. I mean, Jody giving us permission pretty much to wreck that room. It should have just been like covered in blood, and I might not have done that because we were kind of shooting stuff out of order. But I might see if I can add some blood to the ground there, so it's just kind of like stained and messy a little bit and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff like that, and I know on set I was like, no, it's a Grindhouse movie. If there's an error, it adds to it. But there's like the errors I wanted, and then there's the errors I didn't want, and there's a lot of the errors I didn't want. So some of that bugs me, but, overall, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it,
Yeah. That reminds me of a scene I was working on the effects last night, and I can give it away. I won't tell how, but when basically the cop gets covered in the sperm, and he falls to the ground, like I realized there was no actual sperm on the ground. Like it shoots everywhere on him, on the side. So that's something I overlooked, and it's such an obvious mistake, but when you're on set and you're losing light and you're trying to get everything filmed as quickly as possible, sometimes that stuff just, especially on small budget, just goes I guess unnoticed.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. We wear so many different hats on set that it's easy to miss stuff like that. Or in the case, like I was saying, like with mine, is sometimes you catch it, but there's nothing you can do about it because you're like, hey, I can't throw blood all over this wall or all over this character because I have one outfit for him, or I have to shoot in this location again, and I can't ruin the wall, or I can't ruin their shirt because I only have one of their shirts. Especially if she kills, because buying like all those old outfits, and I can only find like one of a kind, So it's just part of working low budget. In one respect, I'd love to have more money just to be able to not have to worry about stuff like that, and be able to cover it and be able to, do the movies, basically how they need to be done.
Yeah. No, I know. And something, what you were saying about how you hate watching your stuff, I think a lot of directors are that way, especially when you are wearing so many hats and working in so many different areas of it, because I mean, I don't sit there and watch my stuff only when I'm working on it. I like watching the audience watch it, but it's funny because people ask me, do you watch all your stuff all the time? I was like, no, I hate it. I won't even watch it after it's done and premiered, and the festival tour's over. I won't even watch it for years unless an occasion comes up where someone wants to see it. I'll watch it with them.
I know I haven't watched Clay's. Geez, I don't think I've watched Clay since I pretty much finished it. And same with Miss Cannibal Holocaust. The problem with watching a movie over, or when you're the director and you get sick of it, is because one, you see all the issues with it, and two, it's because you are watching it like over and over and over again, and you're trying to keep your eyes fresh when you're watching it over and over again. Sometimes I need like that break, like for a few weeks or a month, but you don't have it. I'm trying to get this done for maybe a November premiere. If it goes much later than that, I almost got to wait till spring because I'm afraid that people traveling up here in the winter. The winters are so unpredictable here. So I don't want you guys coming up from like Virginia and hit like a snowstorm or something. Yeah. Or a snowstorm would kill the premiere, Have not a lot of people. I won't be able to enjoy it. So ideally, I'd love to premiere it late November. But, we're a week away from October here. It's a lot to have done in time for November. So I don't know. Plus, I don't want to schedule the premiere until I know it's definitely 100% done. Because the Palace gets booked up, pretty quick where I'd show it at the Palace Theater. And So even when I'm ready, I might not be sure I can show it in November until like, mid-November. They might not have a Friday or Saturday night open to for me to do a premiere there. So, that's the other issue. I could potentially do early December, but around then you start running into, like I said, snowstorms. So we've had bad Novembers too, so it's hard to say. I mean, if I have to wait, I have to wait, but I'd just like to have it done, premiered, showing, then I could send it off to festivals. You make the online screeners,
Yeah.
And I don't really want anyone to see it until the cast and crew sees it. So, but just gonna keep punching along, and then meantime, some point I want to try to get to like this show we're doing. I've got my whole Sub Rosa network that I want to do here. I gotta still do some trimming on Nathan's stuff. I want to play the recordings I did at VHS Fest all the way through, make sure they're good. Those two don't require much editing. I got to cut Gore's thing, but I think he shot it pretty much in order. So the biggest thing I'll be cutting is these shows and cutting some because I'm trying to cut them down from 30 minutes to 8 minutes and add some video over them, so it's not just us talking. So, but I enjoy being busy at the same time. I was thinking about today, I'm like, things are just hectic. I feel like I've got so much on my plate, but a lot of it's production stuff, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, no. And, going back on watching the films years later, I always notice I appreciate my work years later. You ever notice that? I watch them. Like,
I've watched some of my stuff, especially like my early stuff, and I'll be kind of surprised, like how good I did at that time. Because I'll look back on those times, like something like Vicious Sweet, or when I did Permanent Waves, which was one of the segments in Dark Descent when I finally released it. And I'll be like, I had no idea what I was doing back then, and I'll watch and be like, actually, I did a pretty good job. In some ways, I was better back then because of I was watching a lot of Hitchcock back then and stuff. And you see it more in my work then than you do now. So I'll be like, I was doing some good stuff back there. So, but I haven't watched, I've seen parts of Vicious Sweet and Permanent Waves because of recent VHS releases. Bits of Miss Cannibal Holocaust because of recent VHS releases. Clay, though, I pretty much ran and wasn't able to watch. But I would like to watch Clay and Miss Cannibal Holocaust again at some point and watch them with the commentary tracks too, because I remember we did funny stuff, but I have no idea. I've never rewatched them with the commentary tracks. I'd like to listen to them and watch them again, and I think it's a good tool to kind of see what you did right and see what you did wrong, and I don't know, see where you've come from at that point,
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I haven't watched either one of them in years.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of my stuff in forever. And I'll think the same thing. I'll be like, Big Fish, let's see, I was 23 when I made that. I was like, I was an idiot. I didn't know anything, I thought I knew, much more than I did. And then I'll watch him like, oh, damn, it was pretty good. Or I'm really proud of that scene. And, so yeah, or the writing or along those lines.
I'd like to go back and, for instance, for Miss Cannibal Holocaust, because it was very short, I'd love to go back and shoot a new opening for it, for instance, and do a new release of it and remaster it. And Clay, I would just probably want to recolor. I don't think there's anything I've thought about that I've wanted to shoot to add to it. But my very first one, City of the Vampires, there's stuff I didn't shoot and stuff I would do different nowadays that I would love to pull out the old SVHS camera and go back. There's these long monologues, and they need something besides the person just talking, and I could do flashbacks of vampire attacks or something to cut over. And I was thinking it'd be cool to go back and remaster City, clean it up, give it the best look possible from the original masters, then shoot some additional stuff and make the new definitive cut. But I was thinking that the other day, and I was also thinking about the more I watch She Kills, the more I kind of mess with it, the more I add some digital effects to it, which I didn't originally intend to have any, and I add more sound effects to it and stuff like that, and I worry more about the stuff that I purposely was, glad that was kind of a mistake. And I started to feel like I'm like George Lucas, like, but my movie hasn't been released yet, and I'm already tinkering with it.
Yeah.
I'm already like changing. Like, I could add like a crowd in the back of the scene where I didn't originally intend it. But there's something appealing about it. I mean, when I'm talking about tinkering with my movies, I'm talking about tinkering with like City of the Vampires, which is just a wreck, of a movie to me. So if I add stuff to it, it would definitely be an improvement. I don't think everyone would watch it and be like, I like the old version. So I got other plans for City, so I'm not sure what I would do with that. But it would still be cool to kind of go through the whole library and tweak everything and remaster it. I started to do that for Vicious Sweep for a while. But it's just a question of timing, I also have the VHS cut of, She Kills, which I'd like to start cutting as soon as the HD version is cut and circulating. So about a year after it's done, I could release the analog version of She Kills. A lot to do.
With 2 Plates back in 2000, I finished that in 2008. It was released on DVD through Maverick in 2010. And at the time, I was using minimal software and then it got the option of having it re-released under a different name because myself and Maverick felt it could do better under a different name, and we went with Blood Red Presidents, which actually I think was the name you suggested. And but I got to it's a film that I'm not crazy about because of issues we've talked about in the past, but I actually got to remaster it in the way that I intended. I got to go back and add because the original cut had muzzle flashes and whatnot, but I got to go back and add like sparks hitting a car and like glass from the car being blown out and more in blood, and I got it to color it the way I wanted to. And so I really actually enjoyed that, even though I was working on a project, and that took me about 4 months, and that was during post-production on NOS, so it set me back on NOS. But I really enjoyed this project for all the way from 2008. I got to kind of revisit and then kind of remaster the way that I always intended, so I did enjoy that.
I mean, it's just a question of timing, because I mean the majority of my day is just spent trying to figure out ways to make money while I wait for the next check from MVD. So I'm like selling VHS or promoting VHS releases or promoting the upcoming DVDs. And I worked out like a whole release schedule for the rest of the year and into early next year today. And I'm trying to launch this Blu-ray line, and I'm trying to launch, which I haven't announced yet, but by the time the show plays, maybe it would have been announced. I'm trying to launch the new like Salt City, lower budget level or cheaper, I guess I should say, or lower price point VHS. And so I'm kind of crunching the numbers to make sure it's worthwhile and get an idea how many I should release, and just doing all that stuff all throughout the day. It'd be great just if I could wake up every day and just go right to editing, which hopefully if the network could do good and start generating some ad revenue, then I can say like, okay, I can drop one of these other things that I do to the side to make money and focus on the network. And I got other things planned. Nothing super exciting off the top, unless they love these, Penis Hammer podcasts. But I got the Penis Hammer podcast. I got the Goro stuff. I got the Nathan, my son's doing some videos. I've got the stuff from Scarecon. So I got some decent stuff to launch, but nothing, that's necessarily going to, go viral. But there's a few things I've talked to you about, and a few things I'm, working on, planning out that I'd like to kick into production and premiere soon that I think could, start separating the YouTube channel. So, but I'm also working on the pre-production of the Zombie Shore. I'm trying to figure out how to squeeze the production of that in before the end of the year as well, because otherwise we're looking at spring before we start shooting it. And if that's what happens, that's what's going to happen. It's just I would love to have it all shot so I could cut it over the winter and then have this thing done in the spring. The Empire State of Dead video. So, but like I said, I only get so much time during the day to work on the video stuff, and it's definitely been cutting into personal time. I felt a little bad yesterday. I feel like I haven't been giving Nathan a lot of attention. It's pretty easy with my girlfriend because we only really definitely get like Thursday nights to hang out, and then we hang out 1 or 2 days on the weekend, either her with me and Nathan, or me with her kids. Sometimes I got Nathan because I'm watching him while his mom works. But Thursday nights are a night, so I can set that aside. But with Nathan, it's easy for me because he usually sits here and plays Minecraft, and I sit over there and I do my editing, and it's easy for me to be absorbed in the editing, and we're not really interacting. So but my evenings are time to edit, so it's been tough. I've been trying to set. I need to set some more time aside to hang out with him.
Yeah, no, I understand. I have a daughter and she's 3, and it's tough. I try and edit as much as I can during the day up until her and my wife get home, Bree. And then I, just hang out with them for a few hours before she goes to bed. Bree's really great, about putting her to bed so I can go back to editing for a few more hours. But sometimes it's hard because I'm so focused on what I'm doing that when they get home, it takes me a while to get out of that kind of, Bree calls it movie mode. She's like, "You're still in movie mode, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, just I have this idea for something." So, but I'm actually kind of looking forward to once I'm done with the post-production and sending it off to, the festivals and stuff, and getting back into writing. It doesn't quite, involve so much, I guess, of my time. So looking forward to just hanging with the family and stuff, and also working on productions with you.
Yeah, I was hoping to take a break after She Kills was done, and I know what you mean, by the way, about tearing yourself away. Because I'll always be like, Nathan, like the last couple of nights, he'll be like, "Hey, can we go hang out before he goes to sleep?" Like downstairs, we'll watch a show or play toys or something like that, and I'll be like, "Yeah, let me just finish this up." And then as I'm finishing it, there's something else. There's something else. I'll be like, let me just do this. Let me do this. And then a whole bunch of time passes,
Yeah.
And it's tough. But I was looking forward to a break when She Kills was done, where I was going to take like a few months off. But then I had the idea for the network, and I still got to do the zombie short, so I don't get a few months off. I mean, once winter kicks in and we're pretty much forced inside, I'll have no choice but to. I won't have. I could be scripting stuff, but I probably won't be shooting too much stuff because of the winter weather. It's too unpredictable and too dangerous around here.
Yeah.
So it's easier to tear myself away from editing, or writing, than it is for me to actually tear myself away from production, where I actually have to leave the home, and be out and stuff. So, but like I said, I'm just not going to get that break, and unfortunately, I feel like I'm at a point where I need to keep working and get this stuff done because it's not going to happen otherwise. I need to make these productions work so they start generating income. I need to try to get to a point where I can say be full-time production instead of 75 to 90% distribution and 25 to 10% or 10% to 25% production. I want to be full-time production so I can wake up, shoot, production stuff 9 to 5, whatever it is, scripting, shooting, editing, and then spending my evenings like a normal human being, just hanging out with my family. It's tough. I don't know if I ever would though.
Yeah.
And because I don't have Nathan every night, those nights when he's not here, I very much enjoy editing or writing or doing something along those lines. Sometimes I'd love to just be able to watch a movie, and I do watch a lot. So, but some nights, I would love to just kick back and watch some movies and study them. But it's just not happening with the current schedule, and I'm putting it on myself. But I feel like this is the time to do it. I need to make this stuff happen. So.
Yeah, and those times when I have that, I guess, that fire in me to just be, working as much as I can, I try and take advantage of that. Because there are times when I become, lazy and don't want to do anything. So when I get those moments of motivation and drive to really work on stuff, I really try and take advantage of it. So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can fall into those ruts too, where you get out of the production stuff for a while and you're taking a break, and then it's tough to snap yourself back into it. And I love the production stuff, but when you've kind of snapped out of it, it's tough to kind of go back and sit down in front of that computer and sit there and write and make it come out of you. I love writing, but sometimes it is a struggle, and if I get out of the habit of doing it, it can be, it can be daunting to try to sit there and do it again. Same with editing,
Yeah.
So yeah, I hate to almost get out of that. It's almost like dieting, It's like you're on a good diet and you're eating real healthy, and then you have like a few days of like eating junk food, or like a week because it's the holidays or something like that, and then you're like, I gotta go back to eating healthy, and it's tough because you just want to keep eating that junk food, We get on a roll like with playing Call of Duty, like on Christmas break or something.
Looking forward.
And then
to
we're
that.
like, oh shit, I quit Call of Duty. But anyways,
you can't.
I've retired.
The trailers for Advanced Warfare
I love
just keep
playing
getting
that
better
game.
and better, dude. It reminds me of Edge
I
of
can't keep
Tomorrow,
up.
which I saw recently, which was an awesome movie. But
I like that movie too. Yeah, it's tough with Call of Duty because when we get on roll with Call of Duty, I want to play every night, and then you have to go back to reality where I control my schedule a little bit more, and I don't have my kid every night. I have Nathan like 60-70% of the time, but only like half of the night. So it's pretty easy if I'm bored and I don't feel like editing, be like, hey, I want to play Call of Duty. Once I'm in that Call of Duty mode, I don't want to be in that mode. I want to spend every night like working on movies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's.
What'd you think of Arrested Godzilla? Did you finish it?
No, I haven't finished it yet. I'm trying to finish it tonight. I was gonna finish it last night, but Bree actually finished it. She loved it. She loved that movie. Because when I said, "Hey, do you want to watch Godzilla?" and she was like, "What? I don't want to watch that."
I know. I'm surprised she did love it.
Yeah, she was like, and she started watching it and she loved it. I mean, she just, because she put Brooklyn to bed last night, and she usually falls asleep with Brooklyn, but she got back up, and I'm like, oh, you're getting back up? She's like, yeah, I want to finish with Godzilla. And I was like, I gotta work. Because when she woke up, I was filming the inserts, and I wanted to add them back in, so I'll probably watch it, finish it tonight after the podcast. But yeah, she loved it.
Yeah, we saw it twice in theaters, me and Nathan. We saw it the IMAX 3D, which was awesome because the Godzilla fans were obviously there and they were going nuts. And then we saw it again in a dollar theater. I wanted to see it one more time on the big screen. Like I've told you, I liked it even better the second time. And I know some of the fans have been harsh on it, but and I can kind of understand, but I don't see why they're being that harsh on it. But Nathan and I are gonna probably watch it like Saturday morning. I told him we'd set up like blanket and pillows and stuff like that, get all comfortable and pop it on. I was gonna do it Friday night, but I don't, I want to do it like Saturdays. Saturdays are one day where I'll just kind of like eat whatever I want and stuff. So we'll make like a bunch of snacks or like a really big breakfast, sit down and have like a giant breakfast and watch it again. I'm looking forward to seeing it again. It's just it's been a while, and like I said, I enjoyed it. That was a cool flick.
Yeah, I was telling Bree that I was telling her, Godzilla is to Ron what Spider-Man is to me. I told her how your bulldog's named Zilla and how you want to get that Godzilla tattoo. And she was like, well, I understand, you relate to the Spider-Man character. You read his comics since you were younger. How does Ron relate to Godzilla? And I was like, I don't know. I'll have to ask him. So what is it about Godzilla that...
Well, Godzilla I watched as a little kid. It was always like they constantly would play different Godzilla movies on Saturday Monster Matinee here in Syracuse. And so, my earliest memories are sitting in front of the TV, this old, console TV. And it was a big TV, and it had like the wooden legs and the wooden case, and waiting for these to come on after the cartoons in the morning. And they played all sorts of different monster movies, and I loved all of them. But the movies that I loved the most were the Godzilla movies and stuff. So, like I said, those were the first I remember watching. I just remember just loving Godzilla and loving discovering new ones. And I used to take different toys I had and pretend they were Godzilla, even though they didn't look remotely like them, just so I could play out like Godzilla. So I didn't watch the comic books. I watched the movies, and I watched them. They're pretty much the earliest movies I ever remember watching, as a kid. So.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it was good. What did you think of the original, or not the original, but the 2000 or 90, which was it, with Matthew Broderick, Godzilla?
I didn't like it very much. It wasn't. They're almost like, I felt like they were afraid to be true to Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like they felt they had to change it too much, or they had to reinvent Godzilla, and I didn't think he needed to be reinvented, or they needed to take away the stuff that they couldn't, like explain or justify, like his flame breath or something, Why not just let him be what's made him popular,
Yeah.
So, it was okay, but I don't really consider it a Godzilla movie. I wasn't a big fan, so.
Yeah.
My favorite Godzilla movies, I like the really early ones, pretty much from the first Godzilla, pretty much all the one. I mean, I like all of them, so I shouldn't. It's hard for me to even pick, but my favorites were like the early ones when he was still kind of like evil, like when he fought King Kong, when he first fought Mothra, the Ghidorah ones when he battled Ghidorah. Then they got kind of silly and stuff. Those I don't watch as much. I know some people are big fans of them, but I do like them. I do love them, I should say. But the 90s ones that they did, where they did them kind of in order and they kind of restarted the series and stuff. Outside of Space Godzilla, which got a little goofy, he was just kind of this, force of nature that was just destroying everything. And I love those. I love the Godzilla versus Mothra one especially. I think it's like really beautifully shot, and it's got this awesome soundtrack to it that I like to listen to all the time. So, the Americanized version, though, I don't really compare it to those because it's still a different monster, for lack of a better metaphor. But I just thought it was an awesome movie that they did it in a cool way and gave him his own new personality and identity and history and stuff. So I like what they did with it. It was kind of my dream project. I was hoping they were going to remake Godzilla until I could possibly hit a big, and then I could be like, let me direct a Godzilla movie and do it right.
Yeah.
But I think, they did it right. How do you say his name? Gareth?
Yeah.
Gareth Brooks? No, not Brooks. What's his last name?
Garth
Edwards.
Brooks.
Gareth Brooks. Gareth Edwards there. I think he did an excellent job with it. I'm looking forward to what he does in the sequel. So.
Yeah, and his first film, Monsters, I thought was really good.
Yeah, I like Monsters. I thought it was really good.
And
too.
he, directed, wrote it, and he shot it himself. He went around with the actors shooting, and then he did all the visual effects himself. Mm-hmm. If you ever see I don't know if you saw the behind the scenes of Monsters, but he basically lived in this studio apartment and he did all the visual effects of the monsters himself, and it was pretty cool.
Those visual effects take patience. I mean, I enjoy doing them, but when you're sitting there trying to track a shot or mask a shot and it's not going right, it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
And then I lose interest in doing digital effects. Let somebody else do it. I want to focus on the editing and the shooting and the writing.
I know.
So luckily I have Tony doing the digital effects, and hopefully he'll do the final shot digital effects. Otherwise I'm going to try to find a studio and really do that last. That last scene I think really needs to be big.
Yeah.
So I might have to pay some money but have a bigger company, really attack it and do it right.
What the tattoo of Godzilla you wanted to get, he was battling someone, right?
Ghidorah, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was trying to remember.
Yeah, I haven't decided to do my arms or my shoulders. I just haven't had the extra money to really do, because if I do it in my arm, it's probably like a $300 tattoo.
Yeah.
Maybe as cheap as $200, but it's probably more like a $300 tattoo. If I do it on my shoulders, it's probably like a $500 tattoo minimum. Yeah, because it's going to be a lot bigger. So I just don't have like $300 sitting around to go like, yeah, let me do a Godzilla tattoo. So
you should do me and Godzilla. I got Godzilla in a headlock on your back.
Yeah, okay.
I'll do it for you. No, you know what, Gene?
Why don't you hire Gene to do it?
Yeah, I was gonna say my buddy Gene, who I grew up with. He got a tattoo gun for Christmas one year.
I know, it was in Cannibal Holocaust.
He went crazy on himself, dude. He did a Batman tattoo on his leg.
Someone
did all this crazy stuff.
Someone criticized Miss Cannibal Holocaust because he's doing the tattoo and there's no tattoo, there's no machine sound. I'm like, and I responded at one point, and I was like, but he's really giving himself a tattoo on set. But then that was one of the parts I was rewatching, and I was like, Yeah, he should have. We should have added a sound effect for the machine because it would be making noise. We must have took it out and never added it back in because he was really like tattooing himself, like on his leg, and must have pulled it for the dialogue, or we didn't have him run it during the dialogue. So that was actually a mistake that someone pointed out in Miss Cannibal Holocaust that was actually accurate, and I argued it, and then later realized I was like, yeah, actually he's right.
Good times.
Well, I think we're getting around the 30-minute mark, even with the technical issues, because I got like 43 here. So okay. I guess we better wrap this up. We didn't really even get to the topics we were going to discuss tonight, so we'll have to do that next week.
All right.
So this is Ron Bonk checking out for Penis Hammer.
And this is Jonathan Straiton.
Catch us next week.
All right. Click, 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 click.
If you enjoyed this show, please leave us a like below. Your likes are deeply appreciated. Also, check out the audio-only version of this show and bonus podcasts at www.talesfromtheset.com. Also, don't forget to follow the Sub Rosa Network here on YouTube and at www.facebook.com/SubRosaNetwork. Peace out.